And that's where you are.
True. Yeah.
And you just feel like this is just your life. You're going to get beat on until he kills you.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grimm. Today we're going to meet with a woman that has been having a nearly impossible time raising her child. You'll soon see that this has become an actual nightmare for her, so keep watching until the end to see just how bad it is. Even Dr. Phil feels terrible for this woman. Without further ado, let's meet this mom and hear her side of the story.
Let me just state right up front, I'm not here to throw you under the bus. You obviously have a serious problem.
See, like I said, even Dr. Phil understands that this situation does not come down to just downright bad parenting, like in most of these stories that we see on this show. You know, usually these parents just don't have a clue, but apparently her son is behaviorally challenged according to Dr. Phil, and I think that's a bit of an understatement. I mean, this kid is like a walking nightmare, and I mean, they show montages of him just destroying their home when he goes into these fits of rage, and straight up fighting her other children like he's an MMA fighter or something, dude. Like, he's a force to be reckoned with for sure.
You say that he hits, spits, kicks, and really seems to have superhuman strength.
He does.
See what I mean? Dr. Phil's listing off all these things he does to her and the rest of her family, and it just sounds like the move list for a Tekken character, bro. Like, he's pulling all the punches, literally. You see him freaking out in this grocery store? I mean, I don't personally know how this woman just has not gone straight up insane already. I mean, raising multiple kids is tough enough when you're a single parent, which she has been for part of her life. And I mean, when you add in a kid like this in the mix, that would just be too much for me, I think. I don't know, maybe there's a reason for him acting out, but it needs to stop soon, or else I don't know what this lady is gonna be able to do once he gets older and stronger. I mean, he's already only 10 years old and super strong apparently, and it sounds like she can barely contain him at times.
They just get in, adrenaline is so predominant that they just really do have unusual strength.
Yeah.
So when this kid gets amped up and angry, which is pretty common occurrence at this point, he just gets so much adrenaline pumping through his veins that he cannot be contained and just freaks out, and no one can control him at all. This kid's like the Hulk or something, but even angrier. Like, that's really sketchy to be having around, or to have the rest of your family around even. And it's like when you see those videos of people getting tased by the cops and they're just so unfazed by it because their adrenaline is just surging through them. Like, people really underestimate the power of pure adrenaline sometimes. It can make you almost have superhuman strength, I swear.
You actually had an infant that you placed for adoption.
I did. I feared for his life, and I thought that was the best option at the time.
Oh, that's actually heartbreaking, man. This woman had to put her newborn child up for adoption because she could not trust it being in the same house as this kid. I'm sorry, but at that point, do something about the other kid. Get him treatment or put him in a facility, or I don't know, put him up for adoption if you can't really trust him to be under the same roof as a baby out of fear of him hurting it when he gets too mad. Like, you are literally raising a psychopath. So it sounds like he's pretty vicious to the rest of his siblings anyways. I mean, and since she saw how hard he goes on them and he beats them up all the time, she simply could not risk having to raise that baby in the house. So it's so devastating, man. I mean, it sounds like it would be a clear choice to just put the problem child up for adoption, like I said. But at that point, you do have to realize, you know, kind of empathize with this woman, that this story goes much deeper than we can understand by just listening to her talk on Dr. Phil for a few minutes. So, I mean, whatever she did, I'm sure she felt she had to do. It's just sad to see that she had to even undergo all of that because this kid is just downright pure evil.
The children that you have in the home, you basically have taught them to lock their doors and then barricade their doors.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You cannot keep that kid around, all right? The fact that he has so much power over this mom is insane. Like, she's trying to cover up for him by teaching her kids basically at-home lockdown drills, and I mean, that's all just in case he ever pops off, which happens all the time. Do something about getting that kid in treatment pronto, or who knows, like I said, you know, maybe another couple can try to get him the help that he needs, but he just cannot be this tyrant storming around the house, striking fear in everyone else's hearts. That's just not okay, all right?
And he's actually broken their door in half, like it's a wood door, and he's actually banged on it and hit it so hard that he split their door in half.
This kid is 10 years old and is breaking through doors like he's a Marvel superhero. Or I guess he'd probably just be a supervillain at this point. But still, how can you feel safe in your own home when a kid like that is just living around you? Like, you simply can't. I gotta admit, one positive from this video is that it's basically a giant ad for birth control. Like, this is making me never want a kid, like, ever in my life. I don't want to get the bad luck of the draw and end up with a freaking mini Thanos like this kid.
If something
does not intervene, yes,
to
he
derail
will.
this.
It'll either be me or his siblings.
Okay, I don't want to say this to condemn the mom or anything here, but how could you seriously say that? Like, those words come out of your mouth and you acknowledge that if something is not immediately done to intervene in this kid's life, that he might seriously hurt or even off one of your family members, and then still keep him around in your house. You have to do something about this. I don't know if it's just writing into the Dr. Phil show was good enough, alright? Like, I'm really hoping that Dr. Phil can call up one of his plugs, you know, his friends that are just amazing at therapy apparently, and sends this kid to a super lockdown version of the ranch or something. Like, he's got to be put through some serious counseling right now. So he shows us all a freak out moment from this kid, and he's just straight up thrashing around in the back seat going wild about who knows what. I think his mom wanted him to put his seatbelt on, and he's just spazzing out about having to be safe, like, screw you, mom, I want to be ejected from the car if we crash, you can't keep me safe. Like, the craziest part is the rest of this family are just treating this like a normal day and going on with their lives. That's the miserable existence that they are having to live through day in and day out. They have become absolutely desensitized to having to live around this little he-devil, and that is pretty sad, man. Like, nobody should be having someone fly off the handle like that around them every single day. And now that I think about it, to be honest, these kids are probably all gonna have PTSD if they don't already from having to grow up with such a sibling like this. Apparently they said earlier in the show that the oldest sister just absolutely hates him and despises him, and I mean, I don't blame her. It really sounds like this kid makes her household a nightmare and just hurts the whole family whenever he wants because no one is strong enough to control him or settle him down. You know, it's just an absolute nightmare, like I said.
Of course, that's his role. He feels like a victim, and he doesn't have an alternative set of responses to give.
They talk about this in another segment, but it turns out the kid's biological dad was out of his life pretty much after his mom divorced him, and the guy was just a piece of garbage, like in and out of prison, and constantly was just terrible and downright mean to this kid when he ever did see him and pop back into his life for small periods of time. So it would make sense that this kid was having underlying issues with insecurity and rage, since that's what he was accustomed to every time he saw his own flesh and blood, like his own father. You know, he's just a piece of trash, like I was saying, and that can't have a good effect on you. It's sad, but most situations like this where the kid is acting up or just a downright mess like this kid is mostly because of how they were raised or something that happened to them at a young age and made them lose control.
So guys, real quick, I have a super fast challenge that only takes 5 seconds to complete. So if you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just give it a try, it really works.
I actually agree with you. You can't fix this. There are neurological components here that you can't love him out of.
So Dr. Phil is actually pretty level-headed about this and, you know, realizes that no matter how hard this woman tries, she is never going to get to a point where she can just simply nurture this kid back to being normal. He's too far gone, and you need an expert to step in and intervene at this point. He's had years of misdiagnoses and just medication that he shouldn't be taking that has messed with his chemical makeup in his brain, and this could stem also from some birth stuff that he suffered, because basically he was born 5 weeks early and had the umbilical cord like wrapped around his neck when he came out, and that can really disrupt the development of the brain. You know, he probably wasn't getting enough oxygen when he was born. I don't know. It's just really nice to see that he understands that this woman is trying her best, and Dr. Phil realizes that she simply can't do it alone, so he's offering to help, thankfully. So Dr. Phil is introducing one of his friends and close colleagues who apparently is going to be the best possible fit for this mom and her family when it comes to getting this kid help. There's something neurological going on, like I said before, that causes this kid to turn into the Hulk, basically, and Dr. Phil's associate is able to help cure him of this, or at least rewire his brain and help his family with counseling so that he can stop flying off the handle so often. It's pretty amazing that he has these resources on deck, because hopefully this will be the thing this mother has been needing for all these years while she's been helplessly just trying to get this kid better to no avail. It's not going to be easy, but at least she now knows it's possible.
She's just run into a wall every time she's turned around, and that's where you are.
True.
So it sounds like this woman is just flat out of options, so hopefully Dr. Phil's friend can help. It is really devastating to see her crying on stage, admitting that she just fully expects this kid to one day either ruin her life or straight up end her life one day, and she just rolls with that idea and accepts it as, you know, canon. So I mean, I really hope that when they get this kid tested at this guy's facility and start trying to remap his brain into acting like more normalized person, that it's successful, because the older and stronger he gets, the more dire this situation becomes. And like I said earlier, if this kid is straight up running his household and he's only 10, imagine what he's gonna be able to do when he becomes a teenager and really starts going through puberty and gets super strong. I mean, it's just gonna be a really bad time. Something definitely needs to change. If anything, I hope the mom is strong enough to do what she needs to do to protect her family and her kids, because, well, this problem child is a straight up danger for her family at this point. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below. It's a pretty complex situation. Remember to keep it all friendly in the comments, guys. And as always, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace out.